Okay, so here is sort of a collection of the woman part of the cyber spider, and she's all cut up. And I'm keeping over to the left here because over here I'm going to put compilation sped up of me actually cutting her up. Okay, so um, I try to keep in mind printing a piece as I'm modeling a piece, right? So you can see, come on. Okay, you can see that her bodice has this angle on the bottom. That is not an accident. I did that on purpose because if this would have been flat, it would have been harder to print. But since it's got an angle up, it can print without supports. I mean, I have a parts cooling fan on my Ender 3, so I can print almost without supports like 99% of the time. As long as I keep in mind how I'm going to cut stuff up. And I like to do things so that every part has at least one flat side that can go down on the bed, right? And that's the way I look at a model. Like, I purposely, like, when I cut her head up, I wanted this part to print with this part flat to the bed. So all of this would be straight up and down, and this would print fine, right? And this part needs to print with this pointing straight up and with this part flat to the bed so that it will print good, right, without supports. And I believe I printed this part upside down so that this part was flat to the bed, right? And a lot of this, it took a lot of special cutting up to get this to work. And I did it piece by piece. I mean, you can see over here in the corner, if you watch it, how exactly I did it. And this is flying through it. So if you need a refresher on how I cut and key pieces, I will try to remember to put a link, but also if you go back to my main channel, there's a cut and key video that explains exactly what I've done. And I like always have one flat part on every piece so that I can put it flat to the bed. Like this arm is split in two down the center, right? So I can put this up against the bed and print it flat and it'll print fine. And keys to me, they're really there just to keep the two parts from sliding around when they're being glued. And so I can clamp them together and I don't have to worry about aligning them. A lot of times, sometimes I can get away with just holding them together for a little while, then the glue becomes tacky enough that it'll hold together. But this is what I like about a key. I can just put a nice snug key in there, it'll hold the parts aligned and I don't have to worry about it. That makes my life easier. Oh, and one other thing with this, this part of the face specifically, I printed with a 0.2 nozzle because I didn't want to have to deal with layer lines and sanding it out, because when you look at that fine detail in there, I would lose it if I had to get in there and sand it and flatten it out, and it would all disappear. And I got some really good definition with the 0.2 nozzle, right? So there's that, and then there's a big fat key in there. We'll get rid of that. Now this arm was split in two as well. I guess it just didn't remember to stick it in here. This is just a collection of all the pieces. I like to have backups and doubles of files and stuff so that just in case something gets corrupt or lost, I don't lose anything in the end. Now this part right here, I printed straight like that. I specifically printed it up and down, and everything came out really good, except I had a little problem with these two fingers. I thought they were close enough to this that they wouldn't need support, but I lost a little detail in that. However, it was really easy to clean up and fix with a little epoxy sculpt, or either I used epoxy sculpt or magic sculpt. I don't remember which. They're almost interchangeable. I personally feel the epoxy sculpt cures just a little harder than the magic sculpt, but they're both good. Right? And then this one, right, we don't need the key. This one I'm pretty sure I printed with this face down flat to the bed, right? And everything came out great. So you just got to keep in mind as you're modeling how you're going to cut stuff up, right? You pretty much halfway through the build, I have a good idea of what everything's going to look like and how everything's going to go. And as I model, I just keep in mind how I'm going to try and do things, because I don't want to model myself into an impossible situation. So I always try to plan as I'm modeling how I'm going to handle it. Right? And that was pretty much how I did that. So I think I got one more video on this piece. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell.